Hello, and welcome to another episode of Talking to Myself. I'm your host, Jake Letizia, and this is the podcast where I look into a camera and I talk to myself. Hey, how's it going? How you doing? Hope you're having a good day. Hope you're having a good week. Hope you had a good Easter or Passover, whichever you celebrate. You know, hope you saw your family and you had a nice time. I hope if you were alone, it was because you don't celebrate anything and literally yesterday meant nothing to you. I don't know. I don't actually know when Passover is, but I know that some of my friends don't eat for it. It's not until this year that I realized, like, oh, Passover, at least the way I celebrate Easter, the way I celebrate Easter is the way that my Italian family celebrates every holiday, which is we stuff our fucking faces with a lot of food. We eat several courses and at the end of it go, that was delicious, but I feel like a piece of shit. Meanwhile, my friends who are celebrating Passover, I believe they're fasting. So while I'm stuffing my face, my friends are starving to death. My friends are appreciating what it means to have a meal while I'm regretting the amount of food I ate. That's kind of, you know, I don't know what that says about Judaism and Christianity, but I think Christianity might be more gluttonous. At least in that specific scenario, I think the sin of gluttony is bestowed upon all of God's children on that day. Or at least all of God's children who are not the chosen people. That's why Christians aren't the chosen people. That's why Jewish people say that they're the chosen people. It's because they have the courage to hold off from eating for a little bit. Meanwhile, every Christian is like, nah, dude, let's feast while we can. And I don't know what the better philosophy is. I mean, feast while you can sounds smart for survival, but learning how to fast also sounds smart in case the apocalypse happens, which it might, dude. We might be going back to having to fast involuntarily. I've never fasted, man. I'm sure it's good. I don't know. I guess people do it as a diet now, intermittent fasting. Is that good? I don't know. Is that good for you or bad for you? I read an article that was like, intermittent fasting is leading to domestic abuse. And I was like, yeah, I mean, you're not, you know, people get angry when they're not hungry. You ever not eaten for 2 days? You'll fucking fly off the handle a little bit. It was saying it like what is the solution to why is intermittent fasting making people violent? It's like because they're starving, dude. You want to solve that problem? Eat a ribeye. Eat some food. Eat a fucking potato chip, dude. Eat more. If you're not a violent person and you're intermittent fasting and all of a sudden you feel the inclination to punch someone in the eye, go find a candy bar. Go eat something immediately. If you're feeling violent after not eating for several hours, go eat something. Again, is that an Italian thing? Is the fact that my father is an extremely Italian man? Is that why I learned from an early age? If you don't eat, you get mad. If you don't eat and you don't sleep, you murder people. That's just how it goes. Doesn't excuse the action. Don't do that. Don't murder somebody. Don't punch somebody. But also don't write an article like, how is it possible that a man who's not eating properly is punching someone in the face? No, I'm exaggerating. So there are people who are intermittent fasting and not beating up their partners, okay? Of course not. Of course that's not a universal thing. I think that's what the article was. I forget exactly what the article headline was, but it was something about like, or maybe it was like just like a coach for intermittent fasting, or like somebody involved in intermittent fasting was getting into more argument. I don't know if he hit the person or was getting into more arguments. It was ruining their relationship. And I was like, yeah, bro, it's because he's hungry. You ever try and talk to your significant other when they're hungry? It's not good. It's not a good conversation. You're not going to get to the bottom of something when somebody's stomach is growling. You're just not going to. Anyway, what the fuck was I talking about? Fasting. I wish I did it more. But now I don't. You know what? Now I don't. After that intermittent fasting article, I was like, you know what? Passover is not for me, dude. That's not, the Jewish holidays are not for me, obviously. Maybe it's an Italian thing. Catholic Italians, if they fast, they commit violence. So that's why they're not allowed to do it. You ever see Raging Bull? That guy was very hungry. That would be an Italian move, just to label all domestic abusers as hungry people. That guy was very fucking hungry. That's all I'll say, all right? I'm not saying he's a bad guy. He just was starving. That's how much Italians have committed the sin of domestic abuse. Two things happen. Two things exist. The wife beater, literally a shirt that's called a wife beater. It's called a wife beater and a guinea tee. Okay? It's either called a wife beater or an Italian slurred t-shirt. And it's because, you ever watch The Sopranos, bro? A lot of Italians have committed some ill deeds, bro. They've been sinful towards the women they love. And literally in The Sopranos, there's this scene where he's arguing with Carmela, his wife, and he's about to punch her, and instead he hits the wall, and you can feel, maybe it's just because I have Italian relatives, but I can feel watching that scene that there was a bunch of Italian Americans who were like, you know what, Tony's a good guy. You know, I know Tony's like a fucked up guy, but he never crossed that line. He never hit his wife. Which is like, sure, but that's a low bar, you know? Also, he hits his gumars. But for some reason, he didn't hit his wife. That makes him a good Italian man. If that makes a good Italian man, we got to get better standards for Italian people. But I could totally see that. It's the same logic that makes you see Tony hit the wall and you go, you know what? At least you didn't cross that line. Is the same logic to be like, to hear a statistic that a lot of Italian dudes hit their wives and be like, they were just hungry. I'm not trying to speak in code, but all I'm saying is, did he eat a meal that day? Nah, it's not an excuse, but I'm just saying, if I had a little provolone in my gut, I'd be less likely to fly out the handle. What the fuck am I talking about? Anyway, Easter. I saw my Italian family. My mom was telling one of my uncles, or a bunch of my family, about my grandma. My mom always talks about my grandma in the same exact way, and every single time it bugs the hell out of me. Every time my mom talks about my grandma, she says the same thing. She goes, well, first of all, it always starts with my dad bringing it up, being like, her mother's doing great. She's super old. Listen to what she eats. And then he starts to say it, and then my mom goes, no, well, I'll say it. And then my dad goes, yeah, you go ahead. That same interaction every time. It's amazing how people do the same interactions over and over again. Human beings are repetitive as fuck, bro. This podcast, if I listened back, I know for a fact I said a lot of the same shit over and over again, bro. Nobody's that interesting. We repeat shit. And they repeat that same interaction every time they're about to have that same conversation. They're about to tell the same details about my grandma, about my mom's mom. And my mom goes, listen to this. She's 92 years old. I think she's 92. She's 92 years old. Every day she wakes up and she eats a ring ding. And then in the afternoon, she has a Hostess cupcake. And then at night, she eats saltine crackers. And with all of it, she drinks Diet Coke. She only drinks Diet Coke. And so she says all that, right? And then she says, and I took her to the doctor, and the doctor was like, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. You're doing great. Whatever you must have the secret. Whatever your secret is, keep going. But my mom fails to, and then everyone always goes, "Oh wow, oh that's amazing. Oh, she's crushing it." And my mom always fails to mention that my grandma is barely alive, dude. My grandma, if she sits still for too long, she goes like this. Now, if you're listening to the podcast, I just stuck my tongue out and closed my left eye. That's what happens. My grandma's face starts swelling shut if she sits still for too long, okay? She doesn't have any fucking teeth in her brain, dude. She gnaws shit with their gums, dude. What are we talking about? You're leaving out major fucking details here. She needs to be assisted into every car she gets in. She's not crushing it, bro. That doctor isn't saying that she's the epitome of her health. That doctor is saying, hey, you've been hospitalized for being an alcoholic. You eat ring dings every day and only drink Diet Coke. It's miraculous you're alive. So as long as it's not killing you, keep on doing it. He's like, you're clearly a broken person. As long as you don't break completely, eat another Hostess cupcake. But every time they react like, oh my God, she's a freak of nature. She's a miracle woman. I'm like, no, dude. She's not doing great. You know what it is? It's not even she's a miracle woman, because my grandma is kind of a miracle woman. Okay? The odds have been stacked against her. She had fucking 6 kids, family of alcoholism. She drove a taxi every day. My grandpa drove a bus. They lived in like a 2-bedroom studio apartment with fucking 8 people. All right? She lived a wild life. She was an alcoholic. There was alcoholism in the family. She's been hospitalized for alcoholism. She didn't have a shot. Dude, back in the day, my grandma, right? I don't know if I said this on the podcast before, but my grandma one time said to my mom, she goes, oh, if the baby's crying, you just give him a little bit of rum. Right? To numb his fucking child brain. And my mom was like, no, we're not going to do that. And my grandma was like, nah, that's what you do. So like, she didn't have a shot at not being an alcoholic. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many things where I'm like, yeah, maybe alcoholism is genetic, but also maybe it's cultivated, you know? If you give babies rum to make them not cry, they're probably going to have an inclination towards the drink. They're probably going to have a hankering for the demon drink when their brain barely exists and rum is being shoved into their gums. I think it's going to be an uphill battle. When my grandma was like 6 years old, she was having really bad stomach aches, and the doctor diagnosed her or prescribed her to drink a quart of beer, or a quarter of a glass of beer. So there's a photo of my grandma at 6 holding like this tiny glass of beer next to this old neighbor holding a goblet of beer. And like, so she drank with a 50-year-old neighbor. My grandma was getting fucking boozed up at 6 years old because a doctor prescribed it. She didn't have a shot at not being an alcoholic, okay? And not making the family make a lot of bad decisions. She didn't have a shot, bro. The person who tells you how to be healthy told her an awful thing to do at a detrimental age. And it's wild too, because my grandma doesn't trust female doctors. Meanwhile, a male doctor fucked her whole shit up. A male doctor really permanently damaged this lady from an early age. And she's like, yeah, but women don't know what they're doing when they have a jacket on. If a woman's got a lab coat on, I don't trust it. Even though this guy prescribed me beer at 6 years old. She didn't have a chance, bro, but she's still here. She's still kicking, okay? That's miraculous. She stopped she stopped drinking. She only drinks Diet Coke now. She eats ring dings. What this doctor is really saying, you had a hard, crazy, awful life. Just, if you're still here, keep on trucking. But the thing is, my mom told that story, and then people have this idea of my grandma. Like there is a good idea. Like this, what my mom is saying is a good thing, but the way she sets it up is like my mom, my grandma is like has amazing health at her age, and she doesn't. She's fragile. But the thing that like really annoyed me was she was telling this to my uncles, and one of my uncles goes, yeah, it's crazy. Like, you know, some people like smoke their whole life too. And like, you know, some people aren't good. Some people like it kills them. And then, or no, because some people are like totally fine. And then other people, you know, they're allergic to it. And that's what happens with my family. If somebody says something that isn't really, I mean, allergic is the wrong word. They're not allergic to it. That's not what that means. Every disease is not an allergic reaction. That's not what it is. The guy didn't have allergies. He had lung cancer. But so he says that, and the whole room kind of goes quiet for a second because we're all like, well, that's not the right word, but who cares? And then he goes, you know, he takes a moment and he goes, you know, I bet if she kept drinking, she'd probably be fine too. She probably would have just been fine. And I, from my table, he couldn't hear me, but I, from my table, because we're sitting at separate tables, went, nah, she'd be dead. She'd fully be dead, bro. Don't disrespect my mom by even saying something so fucking stupid. She was hospitalized for drinking. What do you mean? If she drank any further, she'd be dead. She needed her life to be saved because she was drinking. What are you talking about, bro? You think ring dings, Hostess cupcakes, saltine crackers, Diet Coke, and a bottle of whiskey every day isn't gonna fucking murder you? What are you talking about? Crazy to say to my mom. And my mom also said, like, no, I think she would have died. Her son fucking drank himself to death, bro. My uncle drank himself to death. Why would it not have happened to my grandma, to his mother? What are you talking about, bro? Dude, people get to a certain age and they just say shit. They're just shot. They're just gone. Like, no one even really pushed him. My mom pushed back the most when that happened. Everybody else was like, well, I don't, why do we have to wait 2 hours between every food course? Everyone was like, we just finished the pasta. Like, why do we got to wait till 8 o'clock for prime rib? What's going on? Or not prime rib, filet, whatever, filet mignon. Whatever, dude. Why do we got to wait so long for the meat? Why are we grazing for so long? Meanwhile, he's just saying like weird, wild shit that doesn't make any fucking sense. Talking about lung cancer as an allergy and how if my alcoholic grandmother kept drinking, she'd be totally chill. That guy should never give anyone advice ever. I don't know if that guy has had kids, but I'm glad he didn't. I'm pretty sure I don't have any fucking cousins from him, and that's probably a good thing. Here's the thing too, though, is that like that uncle, people are fucking complex, because that uncle, as he's gotten older, he's gotten fucking less likable, but he is the most likable career-wise out of all of my family members. Like, he loved horses and was like, I'm gonna move to Arizona and just like have a horse farm. And like people were like, why would you do that? Like, what is the point of that? And he was like, I don't know, I love to do it. And he just went and did it. And that's amazing. That's like so admirable, so respectable, to just have a thing that you really love to do and other people don't get it. And you just go, I'm going to do it though. And then you do, and that's his career and he's made a living off of it. That's fucking beautiful. But still, understand what an allergy is. If your horses get sick, you got to know what's up, bro. I guess he just lives in that life where if a horse gets his leg broken, you just shoot it in the head. So he's like, yeah, I guess lung cancer is an allergy. Horses need to die almost immediately upon being remotely sick. I guess my grandpa died of an allergy. Or I guess my dad died of an allergy. I think my grandpa had lung cancer. Anyway. Thank God he didn't have a kid, man. There's certain people who are like, thank God they don't have kids. And there's certain people who are like, damn, that's like my mom, bro. My mom, every time my mom hugs me now, if she does it for too long, she starts crying. And that's the sign of a good mom. Because, I don't know, for whatever reason, it really hit me this Easter, like, because my mom was like, oh, I really miss you. I really miss you guys. And she really genuinely meant it. And I realized, like, I don't see my parents that often. I see them I see them on the holidays. That's really all I see them. Like, I don't talk to them much. I don't like get dinner with them. I see them on the holidays, and that's when I see them. And if I miss a holiday, then it becomes like a big gap between the last time I saw them. And I think that's a healthy thing. I don't know. I have friends who, like, they see their parents all the time and they have a lot of problems with their parents. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, you're old enough, man, where you shouldn't be seeing your parent that often. You get to a certain age where you need to be distant from your parents. Because your parents need to appreciate their child. And they need to appreciate that you have your own life and you're your own person. That's the natural order of life, is you have kids, you love them to death, you're very close to them, and then you let them live their own lives. You're preparing them to live their own existence. And so you need to give them room to have that existence, to see their own way through it. You're the prep course for life, dude. You're a tutor for your kid. Nobody sat next to me when I took the SATs. You can't sit next to me when I'm... But you can help when I'm living life. But you can help me when I fail a test. You know what I'm saying? You can't be there with me for the moments, but you can help me if I falter. That's the duty of a parent. Is you raise your kid, you hope he has a good life, and then if he's struggling, if she's struggling, you can be there to help. And then hopefully your kid takes over when you're too weak to do anything. But I don't know, I just was really aware because my mom is such a fucking good mom, and she is a great parent, and like, truly, I cannot think of a better parent. I've met people's parents. I'm always like, my mom is fucking above and beyond. And I just, the way she hugged me and the way she said she missed us, I was just like, damn, dude, having kids is fucking the worst thing you can do. People, I mean, this is not a new idea. People say being a parent is a thankless job. It is, dude. Being a good parent is a thankless fucking job. Even when the kid says thank you, it's never enough. You saying thank you to your parents is never enough. And some parents make it never enough, which is not the right thing to do. Because if you're a good parent, you make it enough. You say, when you say thank you, they're like, of course, this is what I was supposed to do. Which is true. You were supposed to, you brought me into this world. You're my parent now. You do your job. Some parents don't do that job. And their kids fire them, dude. Their kids fire them big time, bro. Their kids remove them from their life. But even when you're a good parent, you still need to be removed from someone's life. That's why it's a thankless. That's why being a good parent is a thankless thing. My mom loves me. She loves us. She loves to see us. But she's a good enough parent to know that she's not going to see us all the time. And a bad parent never gets to see their kid for a very different reason. But at the same time, they didn't like. At least the bad parent didn't put in effort. He can at least be like, well, my kid hates me because I don't get to see my kid because I didn't fucking try very hard. And he can regret that. But my mom's like, I tried very hard and did a good job. And my kids are doing well enough where they don't need to be around me. I don't know. It's a thankless job. And I don't know. I think good parents are still impressive as fuck. They're still admirable people. They're still, I don't know. I just feel like family and parenting and like having a kid is like, it's frowned upon in a way that's irrational nowadays. Like if you have a kid and you raise it correctly and you're awesome. You're a cool person. You crushed it, bro. You're better than me. And then people, it's funny because with certain things, people will be like, well, if you think it's so respectable, like, why don't you do it? And that's, I believe that. Like, people go, I don't know. People, with stand-up, it's an interesting thing because people will be like, oh, that person's so funny and she doesn't even feel the need to do stand-up. She's better than us. And it's like, well, that's not, it's like I mean, she's cool. I think that's cool. I think it's cool to be funny as fuck and not feel the need to get on stage. I think that's cool. But at the same time, it's like, well, you know, she probably has a lot of other skills. She's probably just also funny on top of a lot of other amazing things. You know what I'm saying? It's not like she's only funny and she's just choosing not to do anything with it. Nah, she's being funny right now, but it's probably not a big deal to her because she's also a fucking chef, you know? And people say that about having kids. Well, if you think it's so admirable to have a kid, why don't you have one? Because I'm a pussy, because I'm a bitch. Not even, I should even say pussy and bitch, because those are female traits, and those are I guess, you know, technically feminine-based insults, and women are the ones who fucking shoot the kid out, bro. I'm not pussy, bro. I'm dick. I'm cock. I'm a cock-ass dick, bro. If I was a pussy-ass bitch, I would shoot some kids out of my said pussy, dude. I'd be brave as fuck. I don't even know what I'm saying. No, but you know what I'm saying? Like, there are men and women who, like, you know, we're scared to have kids. We're scared. The timer went off. I'll be right back. What's up? I'm back. So yeah, I think that's a big reason why people don't have kids is they're afraid. That's why I would not have a kid. That's why people I know would not have a kid. We're scared. It's a lot of responsibility. It's, you know, if you're going to do it correctly, if you're going to be like my fucking mom, it's going to take a lot of sacrifice. My friend has a kid. He is constantly trying to be a good dad. And he is a good dad, but it's hard. I would like to do it one day. I would. But I think that's the thing too, is that some, you know, you gotta be ready for that shit. You gotta be prepared for it. Sometimes it just happens and you rise to the occasion. But at the same time, if you can set yourself up in a way where you can have a kid and it be okay and it can be proper, you should do that. If you can wait to have enough money for a child, I think that's a good thing to do. Some people don't, and that doesn't make it a bad thing to do. It just makes it a harder thing to do. That's the thing, too, is that people will have a kid when they have no money, and then people frown upon it, or, you know, they'll shit on like, they look down on people who don't have a lot of money and they have children. It's like, they might not have planned that scenario, but, like, that's okay. It's just going to be a harder thing. And I say all this, you know, still being like, if you want to get an abortion, get the fucking thing. I'm pro-choice, for sure. But part of the choice is, you know, some people choose to have kids, and that's I think both choices are good. You know, I think neither choice is bad. It all depends on the person and what their fucking life is. I don't even know how I ended up talking about all this, but that's the funny thing about pro-choice. I've talked about this before. Pro-choice and pro-life, like they phrase it like that because it trips you up. You know, like I just said pro-choice, and I was like, "Fuck, am I saying the other one? Am I saying the wrong one? Am I saying pro-life?" Because I'm not pro-life, but I'm pro-life. You know what I'm saying? I'm pro people being alive, but I think you should be able to terminate that fetus. I've talked about that before with my mom. I've talked about on here before how having that discussion with my mom where she's like, well, I'm pro-life. And I'm like, yeah, so am I. But you think people should be able to get an abortion. And she goes, yeah. I go, so then you're pro-choice. And she's like, well, I don't think that people should get one. I go, yeah, but you think that they should have the option if they want to. She goes, yes. I go, so you're pro-choice. And she goes, well, yeah, but I don't want like babies to die. I go, yeah, none of us do. But you want people to have the choice to get an abortion if they need one. My mom goes, yeah. And I go, then you're pro-fucking choice. That's why it's phrased like that. So people like my mom get confused. And she doesn't have a daughter to talk to her about it, so I'm the closest thing she has to a daughter. As her most feminine son, I step in, bro. Yeah. Anyway, I was at the airport. Let's do an airport story. I was at the airport, and the weirdest fucking thing happened. I was coming off the plane. I had just landed in North Carolina, and I was walking off the plane and just walking through the airport, and this woman just goes, stop. So I stop, and then she's telling everyone to stop. And then there's this guy pushing this woman in a wheelchair. Did I talk about this already? No, I don't think I did. No, I definitely did not. There was this guy pushing this woman in a wheelchair. And those guys work for the airport, I'm pretty sure. I'm always like not sure, but I am sure. Like I think he was working for the airport because then he took it upon himself to also tell people to stop. But then that weird thin line of like, wait, does this guy work for the airport? Made everyone he said it to kind of question his authority. Most people just stopped because also he kept saying it real weird. He kept being like, stop. He kept saying it in a crazy voice. And so the woman would go, stop. And people wouldn't really believe her. And then he would say it in a crazy voice where like the crazy voice made you stop in your tracks. It was less him telling you to stop and more just being like, what? I'm going to stay put because that voice is wild. And this one dude came up and he said stop to him, and the guy was like, why? Hey, why are you yelling at me? Why? And he goes, no, we're supposed to stop. And he had to explain it, and the guy was like, still not sure, but then he was like, all right, I guess I'll stop. So, like, 30 people, like 10 people became 20, 20 became 30. It could have been like 30 to 50 people all at a standstill, told to stop in the middle of walking in the airport, and no reason given. No one said anything about, like, what was happening. It just was like, don't move. And we're all like, are we gonna die? Is there a terrorist here? What's happening, dude? Is there a bomb or a gun near us? What's happening? So we stop for a second. And then she goes, oh, also the phrase she said was, we're stopping all movement. I don't know if I said that already. We're stopping all movement. We're stopping all movement. Okay. What does that mean? Did she think that, like, if she didn't say that, then wheelchairs would roll through? What did she mean? Did she think that people would start riding their roller suitcases? Did she think that people would start wheeling past her if she didn't say stopping all movement? All types. Foot traffic, wheel movement, nobody moves. Well, I'm on a fucking motorized scooter. I don't give a fuck. All movement. Or she's worried about being a guy being like, well, I'm on a motorized scooter, and she's like, oh shit, man, I didn't fucking think of that. I didn't fucking think about motorized scooters. Gonna lose my fucking job. What the fuck? Well, I should have said stop all movement, not just stop movement. People can argue that. Fuck. No, but she said stop all movement, which I just thought was funny. And then I just like looked down very strangely at my shoulders. I'm sweating a bit. I was checking for pit stains, if I'm being honest. In the middle of this story, I was like, damn, dude, my pits feel wet. I hope it doesn't look like it on camera. I got them pit stains, bro. I fucking put in effort, bro. I'm a sweaty boy. I'm passionate, okay? I move my arms a lot. I'm an Italian, dude. We sweat. We sweat because we put effort into every conversation. Every time we speak, it's a triathlon. But stop all movement. And we were standing there for a little bit, and then all of a sudden she just goes, she on the walkie-talkie, she holds up the walkie-talkie, hand up, holds up the walkie-talkie, like it's like she's like we're about to, like something's about to fucking go down, and then we just hear, all right, everything's clear up here, and she goes, all right, everyone, everything's clear, everyone move, resume movement, resume all movement. And then we just went on our way. And then I just heard people saying, like, I hope nothing bad happened. I hope nothing crazy happened. Yeah, me too, dude. Maybe say something. Because the scenario they're creating is like, you all need to stop moving, but if we told you why, you'd be very upset and scared, so we're not going to say anything. Like what? Like, I don't know what happened. Were they fucking patting down some dude who they thought had a gun? Like, what specifically fucking happened? Were they checking a bag that they thought a bomb might be in? Also, if that's the case, why would stopping movement help anybody besides the terrorist who's trying to blow us all the fuck up? Like, what? What did we stop for? Part of me was like, is the governor gonna walk through? Is like a fleet of pilots who need to get to a plane gonna walk through? Is it a whole jet full of military veterans that we gotta stop for to respect? I don't like what. She just left us all with a lot of questions, and then every person I've told that story is like horrified and like. And was like, well, what happened there? And I go, I don't know. I would love it if nothing happened and it was just her and her friend bored at work. They're both just like, let's just fuck everyone's weekend up. Let's just make it so that everyone who came to North Carolina, it kind of regrets it immediately. Let's make it so everyone's vacation is a little bit fucked, is a little bit disrupted. Let's make it so everyone's let's make it so that they're uneasy to fly back home. Weird shit at the airport, weird shit at the train, dude. I was on the train the other day and I ran into somebody and she starts talking to me, and we're talking for a little bit. I randomly ran into an old friend on the subway, and we start laughing. You know, we're laughing in the way that you know, we were just two old friends catching up. We were saying things, just laughing. What are you gonna do? I guess it was the rest of the train was quiet. A lot of times I'm on the train and I'm the only motherfucker talking to another motherfucker. And sometimes I'm like, should we not be doing this? And then I'm like, no, it's okay. You're allowed to speak on a subway. Most people on the subway are traveling alone. And when I'm traveling alone, I ain't saying shit. But when I'm with somebody, I'm talking to them. Why not, dude? I don't got to be depressed all the time. You know, sometimes I can have a nice subway ride. I don't have to focus on the fact that people just died in the station I was at. Anyway, so this kid in this red sweatshirt, fucking glasses. He looked like he was about like 13 years old. He just starts, like, he sits down near us and he just starts fake laughing. So every time we laugh, he starts going, ah, 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 ah. And then we would stop talking because it's so aggressive that, like, we'd have to talk over him. And so he just keeps doing it. And then at a certain point, I look right at him and I start laughing. And then he starts laughing. So then I don't know if he thought that, like, at first I was like, is this kid just trying to get us to shut up? Is he making fun of our laughing? What is he doing? And then when I laughed, I was like, and he laughed, I was like, oh, this kid is now having a moment with me? Like, he thinks it's a fun thing we're doing? Because I don't think it's fun. Like, I the whole time was like, is there something wrong with this kid? Because I want to tell him to shut the fuck up. I was like, this kid's a little bit too young and a little bit too not all there for me to confidently tell him to stop. And the friend who was with me was like, well, I also worked with kids, and like the thing you learn about kids is like they'll eviscerate you. And I was like, I'm not worried about a kid eviscerating me. If that kid came at me, I'd just be like, hey man, nice glasses. And then he would be like, what? He for the whole next week would be like, what does that mean? When you're a kid and someone says a simple insult to you, like when I was a kid, I sweat a lot, and someone would be like, yo, you're nice pit stains. It would ruin my week. Now, someone recently was like, yo, nice pit stains. And I was like, yeah, man, what? I can't sweat? Like now, as an adult, you just go, yeah, who gives a fuck? But as a 13-year-old boy, you have no, I don't give a fuck built into you. So, I mean, some kids do, but it's rare, bro. A lot of kids, even if they're saying outwardly, I don't give a fuck, they really give a fuck. Every kid who's aggressively, every person who's aggressively says they don't give a fuck, they care so much, dude. It's upsetting how much they will get mad. It's like truly uncomfortable and not okay how upset they will become at a moment's fucking notice. So anyway, I did nothing because I didn't. If there was something wrong with the kid, I would have felt really bad. If I was like, hey, shut up, and then he was like, who are you? Like, I don't know. If he just started talking weird, like, I don't know. What if I said that to him and then his voice was like crazy and it was like, oh man, there's some, I'm sorry. He just immediately like did something where everyone on the train was like, oh, come on. Come on, this kid, clearly he needs some help. Stop. So, I didn't want to say fuck you to a kid who might be struggling a little bit. Damn, the train. Dude, it's crazy how I this happened the other night and I didn't even write it down. That's how fucked my brain is from 10 years of being in the city. Is that the other night I was on the subway and a man was sitting to my left. He was sitting at the end of the car to my left, and I was in the middle of the car. Or like, not quite the middle, closer to him than the middle, but far enough away where I didn't feel that unsafe. Also, what he was doing seemed more harmful to him than me. But he just kept going, which at first I thought like, oh, this guy's like seeing ghosts. Like this guy is, because a lot of homeless people are people who like, some homeless people are normal ass people. They lose their job. They get into a bad place. They can't afford health insurance, so they can't afford medication that keeps them right in the head. And then they like are just hallucinating on the subway train. Meanwhile, if they had like the right pills, they would live a normal life. But then he started like spazzing out and convulsing and kept going, and he kept doing it until he just like stopped moving and was lying there. And it was like 3 or 4 in the morning. And I was like, oh, good. That like whatever that convulsing was, it's like he's chilled out now. Or whatever that like screaming and like shaking was. He clearly got out of it. But then also I was like, that guy might have been dead. It's not funny. It's bad. It's uncomfortable. That's why I left. Like, that guy might have been dead. And that's happened a couple of times on the subway where I'm walking past somebody or I see something and it's a motionless body and I'm like, one time the cops were standing near this dude who had a needle next to him and was just lying at the top of the steps and they weren't being urgent about it, which made me think, oh, he's gone. And then I'm thinking to myself, like, the fact that I saw that and then didn't even think to bring it up to talk about as like a big thing that happened in my week, it makes me think like, maybe I shouldn't be here anymore. Maybe it's not healthy to live this long in this city. I mean, I'm sure there's fucking terrible shit you see in other cities. I'm sure. I went to Paris and, immediately I know Paris is perceived as a beautiful city, but like there are bad things happening there as well. Every city has people struggling to the point of demise. Like every city has people dying in its streets, which is fucked, but it's, it's true. You move to a city, you're going to see some fucked up shit. And to me, I see that I'm like, well, yeah, that's New York. That's New York. But then every once in a while, somebody will come to town, or somebody who's like, from the Midwest will be here, and that, like, if somebody I knew who didn't, if somebody even from my fucking, where I grew up in Westchester, if they saw that, they would be like, holy shit, like, what do we do? And and me living in New York for 10 years, I'm like, wow, we go home. We assume he's okay, and then we go home. Which, I don't know, it made me feel fucked up as a person. It did. Because what I'm saying is not good. Like, but it is true. And that's like, there were other people on that train. And even now, I'm like, he was probably sleeping. And that's the thing. He is probably sleeping. He was probably sleeping. He probably had did some drugs and he was freaking out. And then he passed out and fell asleep. That's probably what happened. But it also might not have, And that's the weird in between you live in. This laughter is all uncomfortable laughter, by the way. Sometimes I laugh on here and I'm like, I hope people don't think I'm laughing at that thing. Just sometimes you laugh, man. Recently, I've had this thing keep happening where I laugh in a moment and then people are like, what are you laughing at? Like, they think I'm laughing at them. And I'm like, yeah, I am, but not in a bad way. Sometimes I just laugh at people. Sometimes people do shit that's cute or funny or strange. They do something that makes them feel specific to me, and that'll make me laugh. If somebody does something that makes me be like, oh, that's like you just were very you in that moment, I end up laughing. Because it's nice. It's nice when somebody is being genuinely themselves in front of you. It's something to be happy about. And so when I'm happy, I laugh. Or sometimes it's like they'll do something that's like kind of uncomfortable but also funny. Nah. Last night, this person was just being genuinely themselves, and I thought it was funny, so I laughed. And then she was like, what are you laughing at? And I was like, I'm just having a good time, dude. You're making me laugh. Sometimes, though, I'm laughing, and people are like, whoa, why are you laughing? And I'm like, well, because I'm uncomfortable. And I'll say that. To be fair, I do say that in the moment. To be fair, I always describe what the laugh is. To be fair, when I'm laughing and somebody asks me why I'm laughing, I'll be honest about the source. I'll be like, well, I'm very uncomfortable. You're being strange. People will be just fucking uncomfortable and they don't care at all. I'm amazed at people who will do shit borderline fucked up and really have nothing faze them. Anyway, got about 5 minutes left in the pod. Golf sucks. We were watching the Masters tour. Listen, I respect people who play golf. I respect there's a skill to it. But at the same time, more and more of my friends are taking up golf and saying, like, let's play golf, and they like playing golf, and they just are into golf. And I'm like, bro, this is just a part of getting older. Golf, for most people, there are professionals, but for most people, golf is you pretending you're still an athlete. That's all it is, bro. It's a semi. You're right next to pool, okay? It's pool, but you're outside. When I'm playing billiards or pool, I'm not pretending I'm doing anything athletic. But when people play golf, I feel like they're kind of being like, yo, I still got this. Golf is like old men proving they can still move around. Like, that's how it feels a lot of the time. Not all the time. No disrespect to golf. I'm just saying, for some people, that's what it is, dude. That's what it is. It's a way to remain active when you can't be active in almost every other way. Golf is when you can't, I know that some people play golf even though they could still play basketball and shit like that, but there's a demographic for golf that are like, my hips don't move like they used to. My doctor said my knees are bad and I can't jump in basketball. My doctor prescribed me golf because the other sports I'm doing are breaking my body. That's what it feels like to me. But I'll play. I'll play if no one wants to play pool. I'll try golf out. I've never played a full round of golf. It seems long. It seems long and boring. But I will say, by the end of the Masters, I was getting into it a little bit. I was a little bit like, hell yeah, dude. This is kind of... I mean, I wanted the guy who was about to win, I was happy for him that he won. I think I'm getting called from a friend who is right nearby. 3 minutes. I'm going to text her. Anyway. I'm just going to fucking wait outside while I finish the podcast, bro. Fuck her, dude. How'd you get here so fucking fast? Anyway, what was I talking about? Yeah, golf. Golf is whatever. But lastly, I wanted to talk about Manchester by the Sea. Manchester by the Sea is one of my favorite movies. It is. It's straight up one of my favorite movies. I love it so fucking much. And recently I rewatched it, and then I was telling people how good it was, and then people were like, I was like, just watch Manchester by the Sea. It's dope. And then everyone's like, oh, is that your first time seeing it? And I'm like, no, this is one of my favorite movies. I love seeing it. And then friends of mine were like, that's one of your favorite movies? Ew, why? That's so sad. And I'm like, so what? I'm an adult. That's sad? I think it's sad to like have the only movies you like be what? I gotta like a fun movie because it's my favorite movie? Listen, I have some movies that I love that are silly and fun. I love Who Framed Roger Rabbit, bro. But that movie's still fucking dark, dude. The end of that movie, when he reveals that spoiler alert, he reveals that he's the cartoon who killed his brother, bro. It's terrifying, dude. When Dr. Doom gets flattened by a steamroller, Doc Brown gets fucked up and then gets back up as Slender Man, dude. That's scary, bro. Manchester by the Sea. It ends nice. Dude, life is sad, bro. I want to watch a movie that's a reflection of life, dude. If there's a movie that's sad as fuck and also funny throughout the entire thing, that's a goddamn masterpiece. That's the best movie you could possibly wish for. A dark comedy, bro? That's just real life, dude. What do you like? An extremely goofy movie? What's your favorite movie? That's what I should have said. What's your favorite fucking movie? Marley and Me, dude? Should probably say no because it's too sad. Shut up. What do you like, the Super Mario Brothers movie? What are we talking about here, bro? If you're over the age of 22, yeah. If you're over the age of 17, a sad movie should be your favorite movie, bro. If a sad movie's not your favorite movie, I think you're disconnected from reality. But having said that, everyone can like whatever they want. Having said that, anyone, if you love a silly, fun movie that's nice, whatever your favorite movie is, it's your favorite movie. Don't listen to me. But let me have mine, Let me have a sad one. Let me have a sad one. Anyway, that's the timer for the podcast. Yes. that's it. Thank you so much for listening. Sorry that it wasn't. Sorry that the last one was 2 weeks ago. It is what it is, man. I'm going to say it, even though it might not be true. No, it's going to be true. I swear. I promise this time. Dude, this can become a running bit if it's true or not. But thank you guys so much for listening. I really appreciate everyone who listens. Hope you had fun. I love you guys, and I'll see you next week.
Jake, you're an idiot. Jake, you don't make any sense. Jake, you're a piece of shit. A piece of shit.